Take out the sole. Insert the hook into the loop, adjacent to the first horizontal line. Put out the yarn, and to the same height as the edge of the sole, then 1 chain stitch. 1 single crochet in the next loop, hiding the yarn end in the stitch. Continue crocheting a single crochet in each loop until you have completed the round of the sole. Finally, slip stitch in the first stitch. Pull the loop wider. Pass the sole through the loop and tighten the yarn. Stuff the insole into the sole. Find the 8 stitches at the center of the toe area of the shoe. Mark the 1st and 8th stitches. Check if these 8 stitches are centered. We can try moving 1 stitch to the left, which will make it crooked. Then try moving 1 stitch to the right, which will also make it crooked. Okay, now it's perfectly centered. Okay, now I'll start crocheting. Insert the hook into the marked stitch. Pull out the yarn. 1 chain stitch. Wrap the yarn around the front of the hook. Insert the hook into the next stitch. Yarn over hook and pull it out. Now there are 3 loops on the hook. Yarn over the hook again, and pass it through all 3 loops at once. This makes 1/2 double crochet, then 1/2 double crochet in the same stitch. 2 1/2 double crochet stitches in 1 stitch to form 1 petal. Crochet 6 petals in the first row. Okay, I've finished crocheting 6 petals. Insert the hook into the marker stitch and slip stitch. Okay, finish the first row and smooth it out. Take out another color of yarn. Insert the hook into the next stitch, pull out the yarn, and 1 chain stitch. Wrap the yarn in front of the hook. Insert the hook into the hole between the chain stitch and the petal, and crochet a petal. Next, crochet the petals in the hole between each petal. Hide the yarn end in the stitch. The last petal is in the hole between the petal and the slip stitch. For the last half double crochet, when there are 3 loops on the hook, insert the hook into the loop of the previous row, yarn over the hook, pass through for loops, and pull out the yarn. Slip stitch in the next stitch. Okay, the second row is complete. Change the yarn for the third row. Insert the hook into the adjacent stitch of previous row, keeping the yarn end the same length as the previous row, and 1 chain stitch. Similar to the second row, the first petal is crocheted in the hole between the chain stitch and the petal. Hide the yarn end in the stitches. If the yarn is a little tight, loosen it slightly to the left. The last petal is in the hole between the petal and the slip stitch. For the last half double crochet, with 3 loops on the hook, insert the hook into the loop of the previous row. Yarn over the hook through for loops. Find the stitch that aligns with the other side. Insert the hook and slip stitch. Change the yarn for the 4th row. Insert the hook into the adjacent stitch of the previous row. And the fourth row is crocheted, in the same way as the third row. Find the stitch that aligns with the opposite side. Slip stitch. Change yarn for the fifth row. Check if the toe box is full, and whether the toe height is sufficient. My crocheted height is correct, so I need to skip one stitch to start crocheting the fifth row. If your height is insufficient, you can start crocheting the fifth row from the next stitch. Okay, skip one stitch. Insert the hook, pull the yarn out. One chain stitch. The crochet method is the same as the previous row. Find the stitch that aligns with the opposite side. Slip stitch. Change yarn for the 6th row. Insert the hook into the adjacent stitch from the previous row. Pull the yarn out. 1 chain stitch. Cause the previous row skipped a stitch. There's a large hole here. When crocheting the second half double crochet, insert the hook half a stitch inside the sole stitch. This avoids a hole and makes the finished product look better. Find the stitch that aligns with the opposite side. Slip stitch. Okay, the 7th row also needs to skip 1 stitch. 1 chain stitch. Find the stitch that aligns with the opposite side. Slip stitch. Insert the hook into the adjacent stitch of the previous row. One chain stitch. because the previous row skipped one stitch. There's a large hole here. Therefore, when crocheting the second half double crochet, insert the hook into the inner half stitch of the sole stitch. This is the inner half stitch of the sole stitch. The 9th row also needs to skip one stitch. One chain stitch. Find the stitch that aligns with the opposite side. Slip stitch. Insert the hook into the adjacent stitch in the previous row, and begin crocheting the 10th row. Insert the hook into the inner half of the stitch of the sole stitch. Find the stitch that aligns with the opposite side and slip stitch. Skip one stitch and insert the hook. 1 chain stitch. Continue crocheting until there's about 3 fingers width left. Then you can start crocheting the last row. Cut the auxiliary yarn and crochet with the main yarn. Use the hook to hide the yarn end in the stitches. Put a marker. Skip 1 stitch. One chain stitch. 1 single crochet in the next stitch. If there's still a gap between the first and second stitches, crochet another single crochet in the next stitch. There's a hole here. Crochet a single crochet in, half stitch inside the sole stitch. Next, crochet a single crochet between each petal. Finally, insert the hook into the loop of the previous row, yarn over the hook, and pass it through to loops. Crochet single crochets until aligned with the opposite side. Slip stitch. Cut the yarn, pass the yarn end through the loop, and pull taut. Alright, the cozy slipper is finished. The crochet method is the same for both left and right slippers. Looking forward to your creation.